Jim and Tammy Bakker made a surprise return late Wednesday to Charlotte. Their true purpose not clear, but they told a reporter during a layover in Dallas that their goal is to be back on the air again in 30 days. Bakker was quoted as saying, "The bugs still haven't been worked out. No TV cameras have been bought." But it is not known if the new ministry would be related to the PTL. PTL Chief Executive Officer Harry Hargrave told the Charlotte Observer he was assured the Bakkers have returned only to settle personal affairs and talk to family members, and said the PTL does not feel threatened by the Bakkers in any way. A small group of curiosity seekers waited in the terminal, hoping to catch a glimpse. But the Bakkers climbed into an awaiting black limousine to head to their lakeside home at Tega Cay. Passengers on the plane said there was a 2-hour layover in Dallas in which many of them went up to the Bakkers, got their autographs, and described the Bakkers as very friendly and outgoing. At Tega Cay, Tammy Bakker showed the emotion of returning.
And I'm going to do something I said I was going to do when I came home.
All right. So glad to be back with our family.
How long are you going to stay?
Well, we've been invited to stay forever back here, but we don't.
Invited by who?
Us.
Our family.
Who
What
else?
about the people at PTL?
We've had no contact with them.
There is no question. News of the Bakkers back in town will cause a major ripple through Fort Mill and Heritage USA. Larry Lamott, CNN.
Jim and Tammy Bakker are back in the South Carolina home built for them by the PTL ministry. Loyal followers are awaiting a sign from them on what to do next, but PTL officials have given the Bakkers 30 days to vacate the house. Larry Lamott reports.
The road leading to the PTL-owned Jim Bakker home is barricaded. They're in seclusion, but hordes of newsmen are waiting for any movement. Only friends and relatives are being allowed in. Early in the morning, the Bakkers emerged from the $1.3 million occupied when Bakker ran the PTL. They talked about plans to build a new ministry in 30 days.
We are planning to go back on television, yes.
Where?
We have about 5 considerations right now.
Bakker gave few details of his future plans, but said he can preach anywhere, anytime.
Ministry is not in the buildings, and so if my buildings are gone, you know, I can preach in the streets if I have to.
The Bakkers plan to meet soon with PTL Chief Executive Officer Harry Hargrave to discuss the removal of their personal possessions from the home. They've been given until June 15th to clear out. Among the visitors, William Thompson, a South Carolina businessman. He said he made an offer to Bakker Associates that would allow the defrocked clergyman to work out of a new hotel on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, in a special center administering to troubled souls. But nothing has been worked out. The Bakkers are considering several offers. They arrived in Charlotte Wednesday night with waves and smiles. PTL Chairman Jerry Falwell, who took over for Bakker, says he's not the party's return. But on the PTL Club show Thursday, there was a taped tribute to Falwell, intended to enforce his position as new head of the PTL. For now, the public road leading to the Bakker home has been redefined as a private road by the mayor of Tega Cay and has been blocked off, showing that while the Bakkers have lost their throne, they haven't lost their clout. The parsonage at Tega Cay has become a battlefield. Tammy Bakker said Wednesday she and her husband Jim will fight to keep the $1.3 million home.
They keep threatening us that they're going to come and take our house away. In the minutes of the meeting at the board of directors, our house was given to us. So we are going to go to a lawyer and we are going to try to keep our home.
Mark DeMoss, a spokesman for Jerry Falwell, said Mrs. Bakker might have been referring to action taken by the former PTL board last November.
If the document is valid, and I can't tell you today if it is or not, at the very best, the Bakkers would own about a 5% equity in this home, which we would certainly pay them upon sale of the home.
Mrs. Bakker, often with tears in her eyes, said she would swear on a Bible before God that Jim Bakker had not given his ministry to Lynchburg, Virginia Baptist Jerry Falwell in March of this year.
I hope that Jerry Falwell and his family never have to suffer the way that they've made our family suffer. I wake up every morning wishing that they had killed me. And Jim does too.
Aloha. The former PTL club co-host accused Falwell and his lieutenants of sneaking into their Tega Cay home while they were in Palm Springs, California, of ordering guards to starve their dogs, of throwing away hundreds of their record albums, and of shredding letters and checks addressed to them.
I'm embarrassed to stand here and even answer them. They're ludicrous.
Tammy Bakker said one of her saddest moments was the PTL auction held in May. She said some of the family's personal possessions were sold, but Mark DeMoss emphatically denied it.
I can show you invoices for everything we sold at the auction. None of it belonged to the Bakkers.
Mrs. Bakker said her family is down to its last $37,000. Asked what happened to the hundreds of thousands the Bakkers received in bonus money, she replied,
I do not know. And I say that before God, I do not know.
A coming out party in Gatlinburg, Tennessee today, saying they're thinking of setting up a new ministry there or possibly somewhere in California or Florida.
Small town girl, and I love Gatlinburg. I love it. It has everything I love.
But in 5 minutes, she's down on this street just shopping her heart.
Proposed to take their possessions and clear out of the $1.3 million PTL parsonage Monday, but it won't happen.
We're not going to pressure them. We're not going to push for a strict timetable.
Jim and Tammy Bakker are very reluctant to leave the home they occupied before the PTL founder's resignation in March. But reportedly, they have agreed to give it up.
We think we've given them a lot of time, and we hope that within this next week we'll be able to negotiate the time for them to leave and vacate the premises and to divide up the property that's inside the house.
Some of the people whose contributions have helped to build this Christian retreat do not want Jim and Tammy to leave. They formed the PTL Partners Association. It's a group gaining more and more visibility.
Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together with love.
I would like for them to come back like it was stated before on a 90-day period. Give them a chance to prove that they can raise the money and they can do it.
We want to do this in peace and love.
In this day, God, I speak those words you spoke to my heart. Mr. Falwell, turn his people loose.
The Partners Association wants to petition new PTL Chairman Jerry Falwell to allow regular contributors to the ministry to vote on who should run it. Falwell has said this group represents a minority view. If so, it is a vocal minority.